I don't think that Italians think about like cancer and dying as much as Americans do.
The traveling American tourist situation in Europe is absolutely crazy. We've covered many Americans recently who have said some off-the-wall stuff or done some off-the-wall things, and you guys made it a mission to let your thoughts be known in that comment section. And you guys were very creative, I'm not gonna lie. In this particular video though, there's an American tourist that was traveling about Italy, and she made a diabolical comment, and I was like, what? And the internet made sure to pack her up in that comment section as per usual. And the crazy thing is this whole incident only happened a few weeks ago, but has recently garnered a ton of traction. So before we get into this video, I have a question for you guys. How is health defined in you guys' country? Because that is the theme of today's video, health, and what your country perceives health to be versus what the United States perceives health to be. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. Please support the channel by liking this video and subscribing if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments down below what a healthy lifestyle in your country looks like and how it compares to the United States. Do you think that the United States has changed its way of viewing health over recent years, or do you think it's completely plummeted? As of this current administration, I would like to say that it has gotten way worse, but I'm just a schmuck at the end of the day. Maybe you guys see it different.
I don't think that Italians think about like cancer and dying as much as Americans do.
You see what I mean? That statement alone is already absolutely diabolical, especially when you look at the mortality rate of Italians in comparison to Americans. So if I just type in here, the mortality rate in the USA versus Italy, this is what pops up. So if we look at the life expectancy here, it's not by much, but you can see that the average life expectancy throughout Italy is 81.7 years. And then if you look at the average life expectancy in the United States, it's about 78.37 years. And then if you look at the life expectancy of men in Italy, it's 79. In the United States, it's 76. If you look at the life expectancy for females, in Italy, it's 84 as opposed to 81 in the United States.
Americans do, like the rate at which they smoke cigarettes and drink on the daily and live longer, healthier lives than us is really impressive. But today I went to go get my morning coffee and I asked for it to go, and he straight up pulled the shot and put it into a plastic cup, and my American mind went, oh my God, microplastics.
As you can imagine, the comment section actually packed her up for what she said, and she was actually a pretty good sport about it. I'm not gonna lie. Her responses were pretty like, oh yeah, you know what, you're right. Yeah, for sure. But I have a question for you guys before we dive into the comment section. And my main question is, when you guys go ahead and grab coffee, do you take it to go or do you sit down and enjoy it on the spot? Now, this is a question I'm asking because as I've combed through a lot of these videos, I'm noticing in the comment sections, a lot of people are like, well, most of us don't take our coffee to go. We enjoy it at the spot that we got our coffee from. And then, you know, we finish our coffee and then we leave from there. So that makes me very curious because I know at least in the United States, we have this culture where we'll grab a coffee to go. And especially for my peoples living in the big cities and stuff like that, you'll grab a coffee, you're walking down the street in a rush, and you have your little mug and everything. And I'm not sure if that's an American exclusive thing, which I don't think it is, or if this is something that also happens worldwide where people grab their coffee to go and they're just on the run with their coffee in hand, whatever. But like, she has a little espresso shot in her little plastic cup. You could have finished that at the spot. You know what I mean? Like, why are we drinking espresso on the way to wherever we're going? I mean, it's not even that big. You feel me? Like, you could have at least just taken the extra 2 minutes to enjoy it at the establishment and then rolled out. But sometimes the establishments get too crowded and you want to get in and out and to your destination in a hurry. So what do you guys say to that? Is it normal for you guys to grab your coffee and get out? Is it more 50-50? Some people like to stay in place and enjoy their coffee at the coffee shop, while others decide to take their coffee to go and go on the road. What's the normal thing in your country? Because I know that depending on the country you're from, there's different habits, and we like to lump all them habits in one big pot when it comes to America and the entirety of Europe. Also, she mentioned a few things. She made the whole cancer day like, oh, you guys don't care about cancer. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to think about the same thing. Literally in the United States, it's been taught to us, and it's a very real thing. It's taught to everybody worldwide. Smoking's bad for you, straight up. real bad for you. It is one of the leading causes, at least I think, don't quote me on that, of lung cancer, right? It's one of the leading contributors to lung cancer, right? Although people seem to be living like there's no tomorrow with as much as people have been smoking. Now, it's not guaranteed to get lung cancer if you smoke, but the chances are significantly higher if you do. So when I traveled, for instance, to Germany and I saw so many people smoking, no matter where I went, it didn't matter if it was a city or a rural town, there were a ton of people that were smoking. And it was interesting to me because other places I'd been, I hadn't seen that many people smoke before. Now, if you travel to South Korea, you'll notice that a lot of people tend to smoke a lot at night. I don't really see too many people smoking outside during the day. It's like, I'd say if I were to compare it to Germany, at least, I feel like the perception I got is that there were more people I noticed that were smoking outside and in every possible situation in Germany than I noticed in my long time living in South Korea, but I could have it all messed up. What's killing you is fast-paced living, insecurity, processed food, and an unhealthy work-life balance. And already off the rip, we have a comment that scorched earth, okay? Because that hit every point that I should have brought up. So the work-life balance and the unhealthy processed foods and everything else, that all plays into our life expectancy, right? When you look at the work-life balance throughout all of Europe, now this is something I can use when I use the entire continent of Europe. You guys treat your people throughout all of Europe, every single European country, you guys treat your people, at least in that regard, a lot better. It's cool and it's a little crazy to me because the idea of actually enjoying your free time, right? Enjoying your free time, not having to worry about work, just kicking your feet up and relaxing because your job gave you some time off, to me is a wild concept. And you've seen me rant about this in damn near every video because it still blows my mind. I mean, imagine getting more than 2 weeks time off in a year. I know that sounded crazy, but like, imagine getting more than 2 weeks time off in a year. I don't know. That's crazy that there's so many different countries in Europe, and most if not all of European countries have a system in place where they get more than the average American in time off, which I think is insane to me. OMG, microplastics, and they have literally everything, even fruits, in plastic. I'll be the first to admit, I didn't think about that. Yeah, we're over here talking about how much we care about microplastics. I just meal prepped 21 containers of food, and guess what? All my containers of food happen to be plastic. Okay, plastic. I guess it's reusable plastic, so it's a little different, maybe, but microplastics is microplastics. You know what I'm saying? My cutting board, where I cut up all my fruit and vegetables, that's also plastic. I can't say shit about microplastics at all. I obviously don't give a fuck. And then if you look at other fundamental things throughout the United States, the way we package our food in general, it's always in some cheap ass plastic. And then we use plastic bags when we gather our groceries and stuff like that. It's a little funky. So we're all worried about microplastics and stuff, and then scratching our heads when the mortality rate is higher in the country that we're making fun of. That don't make no sense. If you get sick here, you can stay home and go to the doctor without getting in debt, which I think helps more than avoiding microplastics. I completely forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Again, I've been enjoying my life in South Korea for so long. Reality is going to settle in when I move back. But yes, that is a real thing. Whenever you get sick, you can actually stay home and recover and not worry about getting into generational debt throughout Europe. For the most part, healthcare is pretty good, pretty solid. It has its flaws, right? But not the same flaws the US healthcare system has. The biggest flaw that the United States healthcare system has is it's diabolically expensive. It puts you in generational debt. And on top of that, we talked about the work-life balance. Part of the work-life balance is they don't cut you a break. Lunch breaks are 20 minutes if you're lucky. And if you decide to take off because you're sick, they're going to think you're lazy. And guess what? That ass is fired. They're firing you from your job. You are now unemployed because you decided to take care of your health. And that's not good for the company. All plastic used in restaurants with food and beverages in Italy is not really plastic, but organic material by law. I did not know that. How true is that, by the way? Like the plastics that are used in consumption spaces, like food consumption spaces, like restaurants and other establishments as well, those are like organic material. Those are made out of organic materials. That's really a thing. I had no idea. Maybe there's some places like that in the United States too that are trying to turn a new leaf. But again, with this current administration, it's like we ran backwards in time. Maybe stress in our work culture has something to do with it. Have you guys noticed that a lot of Americans always talk about how laid back and relaxed a lot of Europeans are? Like we could always talk about, oh, they're so mean, they're so rude, da 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 da. We always talk about in the same breath how relaxed every European we see is, wow, how could you be so laid back? How could you be so laid back? Your job's not stressing you out. Life isn't beating you down. You're not in crippling debt. You're not depressed. Now, I'm not saying there aren't people out there that aren't going through it throughout Europe, right? Everybody's going through it. Everybody's going through it. If you have a pulse in 2026, you're going through it in some way, shape, or form. Let that be clear. But the way that people go through it in Europe is a lot different than how they go through things in the United States, because it feels like we're fighting 115 million battles. We have legislations and rules and laws that are designed to pack us up at the expense of the people at the tippy top of the food chain. And it's not fun. And then you have, rules and regulations that are there to preserve the people's livelihoods throughout Europe. And I'm like, why can't we adapt some of that in the United States? If we care about the United States so much and we have this super cult patriotism that people make fun of worldwide, why don't we just back our country by changing some of the rules and regulations so we live longer, right? We value our people, hopefully. And I would think that making changes to our health and what's allowed to be inside of our foods and the things that we interact with would hopefully encourage politicians to create some legislation that would help extend the life expectancies of the average American. Universal healthcare actually helps society stay healthier because it's the government's responsibility to allocate funds efficiently. The government has more incentives to keep its population healthier so they can cut down on costs. Yeah, and we were talking about capitalism earlier. I'm not sure if I left that in the video, but with how capitalism works, the foundation of any system, whether it's socialism, whether it's capitalism or whatever, is people. People are the foundation of all of these systems. So wouldn't you want your people to live longer so you can benefit from whatever system you choose to use, right? Fundamentally, that makes a lot of sense, does it not? Italy abolished single-use plastic about 10 years ago. This also might have a lot to do with the extended mortality rate. I think it's a culmination of a lot of things. I think it's how active people are in that country, right? I also think that it has everything to do with the lack of processed foods in that country as well. And the work-life balance we talked about, because being able to live a relatively stress-free life is astronomical to living long. There was a few videos I saw on YouTube and whatnot of people who lived over 100. And one of the biggest pieces of advice from pretty much every single person who was over 100 years old was try to let go of things that don't matter. Try to reduce your level of stress as much as possible. If you're always anxious and you're on edge 24/7, you're going to cut down your life expectancy. They even mentioned that they had a lot of friends that they had lost through their lifetimes because they were stressed out. It caused cascading health problems because simply they were on edge all the time. What is a spritz compared to pre-cooked canned food with 90 out of 100 grams of sugars? You got us there, not gonna lie. I guess you're right. I always wondered about that. I'm like, what's worse, eating a deep fried, saturated, fatty diet for the rest of your life, or smoking a cigarette a day for the rest of your life and eating pretty healthy and being active? First example, I forgot to throw in there being inactive as well. And I think that although both habits are not good, you have a higher chance of living longer if you smoke and are very active than if you're eating unhealthy and you're not active. It's almost night and day, right? Now, obviously, with the smoking, again, lung cancer is now on the table, so you got to keep that in mind. But did you guys watch Breaking Bad? Breaking Bad, Walter White got lung cancer, and that man had not touched a cigarette in his life. American who used to live in Italy here, those cups are biodegradable, and we literally have nothing like these cups, plates, silverware in the States. Don't stress about them because they're better regulated than anything in the States are. And honestly, that's wonderful to hear, because in the States, it's all about production and how much product we can get out there at the expense of the people. If you go into any American household, you'll see plastic cups, you'll see paper plates, plastic silverware all over the place, plastic bags all over the place, processed food, canned processed food all over the place. If you look inside the ingredients of a lot of the products we have in our fridges, it is riddled with things that literally contribute to causing cancer. We have genetically modified foods all over the place as well. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and we're not even talking about, like I said, work-life balance attributes that contribute to the declining health of the average American in the United States. It's just crazy. I mean, I can go on and on about this all day, but what do you guys think about all of this? I know in my early videos, I used to not wear this at all. I used to have a baseball cap, and sometimes I would film a video without whatever, but I got older. My hairline's probably cooked. Let me show you guys real quick.